Hey, good Tuesday morning, guys, and thanks for checking out your latest long-range forecast. Michael Clark here with BAM Weather. A lot to discuss. We'll get right into it here today. Taking a look at radar this morning, it's busy across portions of Wisconsin, Michigan, a heavy thunderstorm cluster working through, heavy rainfall working through Texas, Oklahoma, inching its way in towards eastern Kansas, western Missouri. And then we do have, you guessed it, winter storm watches hoisted up here across Montana, North Dakota, as we are going to start working in a winter storm, all right, for the northern plains. I'm going to show you the forecast radar here just over the next 18 hours. Again, you'll kind of see the little faster. You'll see the rain working in to the central plains here tonight. All right, expanding in coverage, and then you'll start to see this winter storm get underway across Montana into North Dakota here. Again, later this evening into the overnight hours, snow will start to work into those areas. A snowfall forecast, you start to see the snow really inching its way towards a heavier forecast here in the latter part of this. I'll show you snowfall totals in just a second. Rainfall totals the next 24 hours, heaviest from Oklahoma City through Wichita, Kansas City. Here as we're looking at those thunderstorms starting to kind of increase in coverage. This is a look here real quickly. Favored model solution European. Big high pressure in the east. Have a southwest flow aloft in the central plains. That's the reason for the thunderstorm and rain activity here that will continue. There's that winter storm ramping up across Montana and the Dakotas here by this time tomorrow night. A swath of snow coming through. Continuing to snow in through Thursday morning. Another round of heavy snow on the backside of the area of low pressure Thursday night into Friday, as some strong north winds in the northern plains. Classic winter storm, heavy snow will be possible up there. This storm system moves off to the east. The next one in its wake, that's our Halloween storm. We've been talking about it for a long time. That'll bring a lot of heavy rainfall into the central U.S., into the Ohio Valley. Maybe some snow on the north and west side. And a very big cold front. I've talked about this for weeks. I don't want to continue to talk about the same things. But a very big cold front and possible lake effect snow even. First couple of days of November was some really impressive cold. In fact, this is really a piece of the tropospheric polar vortex that will come down for a couple of days over the Great Lakes. And temperatures low 20s, upper teens. Not out of the question, at least for it feels like. For the time being. Rainfall the next 10 days, the heaviest focused across Texas, Oklahoma, eastern Kansas, western Missouri, northwestern Arkansas. 3 to 4 inches of rain, locally 5. 2 to 4 inches of rain across Wisconsin and the northern Great Lakes. Lighter amounts further east and southeast that you go. A look at the snowfall potential here using a blend of weather models. You can see the swath of red and some yellows, right? That's the swath of heaviest snow. That's where over the next 10 days we're looking at the potential here for, 8 to 12 inches of snow to fall on the northwest side of the low, again, especially Montana and in through portions of northern North Dakota, southern Canadian prairies. Again, this that you're seeing here on the backside, northwest side of the low pressure system for Halloween, and then this that you're seeing in the Great Lakes in the northeast, that's after the front works through. Lake effect snow, not out of the question. So an early active snowfall map, right? This is a look at the temperature departures as we go throughout the next 10 days. It's obviously incredibly warm here as we go throughout today, tomorrow, the next day. On Friday, temperatures running, 15 to 20 degrees above average for the eastern half of the country. And then look at the sharp contrast. You're 15 degrees above average in the Carolinas, and you're 20 to 30 degrees below average in the plains. A major cold front coming, and you can see it works its way through. Here's the 29th, 30th, and 31st. In fact, most folks for Halloween going to be really, really cold, well below average temperatures for Halloween, a cold trick-or-treating forecast. And then as you wake up on the 1st and 2nd of November, it's cold for the entire country. The question's going to become, how long does that last? Well, that's a good question. All right, because we have some indications that while it can get really, really cold, it can moderate quickly, but perhaps another storm system around the 6th to the 10th of November can bring a brief shot of cooler air before it really starts to moderate after that period. The November 5th through the 10th time frame would be the bigger question. Is there going to be an eastern U.S. trough, or will the ridging win out? And we don't really have the answer to that right now. The best answer might be that a storm is there, and it might bring a shot of cooler air in the meantime. But it wouldn't also surprise me if this look returned, the look you're seeing right here, the ridge over the east and the Great Lakes in the northeast. it's, again, something that we'll watch. I want to take you out to day 10. Okay, here's the big front for Halloween. Watch what happens here real quick. By the 4th of November, the positive height anomalies return. Okay, and then at the very end, the model's trying to bring in a trough in the east. This can be supported by a SOI drop we had a few weeks ago that's supporting a storm date here. The issue is we have things working against it, such as the pattern in East Asia. It's been teleconnecting and really correlating really well. You can see that on the 27th of October, there is a cold front in the southern part of the Korean islands in Japan. We want to watch this ridge up here in East Asia that eventually works in over the northeastern part of the Korean islands here. And you can kind of see strong ridging signal here by the 29th. The 6 to 10 day correlation is a particular, a similar pattern would set up like this by the second week of November for the eastern U.S. and the Great Lakes. Okay, so when we look at this in terms of, what do we think for the extended forecast beyond week 2? Well, you look at week 3 and 4 on the CFS Weekly. It's very, very warm. It's very active as well. A lot of analog support to a warm and active return to the pattern in November. The latest runs of the CFS here take you into the CFS daily forecast run. By the 7th of November, it goes below normal with the heating demand, and it never goes back above the 10 and 30-year normals for HDDs. In fact, all the way out to December 6th, this run is really, really warm. It's tough to bet against the warmer signals right now. When you look at our latest week 3 and 4 temperature outlook, precipitation outlook, a lot of MJO1, negative AAM, even our oceanic analogs, the behavior in Eastern Asia, a lot of the data really supports the evolution of this. There's really not a big question as to where we eventually go. I think the bigger question is do we get warmer by the 5th or the 10th of November? Is it cooler a little bit for the first 10 days? It's not impossible. The big question is when does this significant warmth work in? And right now, we'll go back and forth between the 5th and 10th for risk purposes. But the week 3 and 4 outlook is above normal to much above normal in the east and northeast. HDDs on average in the 10-year period are 259. We're coming in at a 225. Last year we were at 225 as well. Precipitation to remain much above normal in the central U.S., and it probably remains below normal where it's been below normal in the east and southeast. The forecast for November, looking at the analogs, we're looking at years MJO1, negative AAM, positive IOD, a couple of things thrown in here. You can see the stark resemblances here. And to be honest with you, the maps were not built off the analogs. They just happened to match them. There really is a strong consensus that this can be the November pattern, warmer in the east and northeast. HDD forecasted a 515. Last year was a 580. It was pretty cold in November last year. The 10-year average is a 572. I just don't think we're looking at a cold November in areas that matter this year for heating demand purposes. The western half of the country can be cold and it can be stormy in terms of HDDs, and it's not really going to have that much of an impact on it. But there's your official November temperature forecast as of right now. Okay, taking a look at the risks for the November outlook. Okay, when you look at the MJO1, the EPS Weekly, it's a strong indication of MJO1 forcing for the month of November. When you look at that during an El Nino, this is what you get. You get this ridging in the east, you get this trough in the west. The conflicting signal is the westerly winds at around 120 west. That signal does indicate there can be more ridging in here than what this alludes to. The risk would be that at times a positive PNA or some type of ridging could allow for shots of cooler air based on this. I will say that that this method is a method we've kind of come up with here in-house that it does well, but it's not perfect. East Asia, North Pacific, oceanic analogs, all the analogs point towards warm east, cool west. I would say it's 80-20 right now. 80% probability that's the pattern, 20% chance it could be cooler east, if you wanted to look at it that way. You roll this into December, there isn't a way to spin it cold for December. There just isn't. I mean, everywhere you look, every way you look at it, every analog, every model, every whatever setup, it's warm. And it looks like this. I mean, it's warm over the Great Lakes, the east and the southeast. And I've seen mentions and tweets and things of central-based El Niños, and we've peaked on El Niño, and December winter is going to get cold, and you name it. It's the same crap you see all the time. There's no support for anything like that right now. In fact, if anything, I would argue we are facing one of the warmer winters we've seen in many, many years, potentially. I think we could rival record warmth at times in December and January. It's something to consider. Strong analogs 2015, and when you look at 2015 and most recent strong El Niños, it was a very, very warm winter. Okay, so our HDD forecast right now is for the entire season is a 35-10. Now, for a lot of you, you're used to the December, January, February number, and I'll tell you that real quick. And again, it's not cold. I can tell you that. Our forecast, 760 in December, 870 January, and a 795 in February. That's a 24-25. Okay. To put that into perspective for you, 24-25 compared to the 30-year normal, it's about 150 points warmer than the average. So, over the last 30 years. That's the latest. Don't forget, our winter webinar, our outlook is today, 11 a.m. If you haven't registered, go to bamwx.com/webinar, sign up for it, and it's free to attend. Hope you have a great day. Talk to you soon.